Islamic State is thought to have seized the last border crossing between Syria and Iraq. That's as a new U.S. intelligence report shows that Washington knew and even facilitated the militant group in early days. A global march against Monsanto expected to spread to hundreds of cities around the world today, uniting thousands against the GM food giant. And RT joins European monitors at the Donetsk airport in eastern Ukraine as they visit the former fighting flashpoint to recover the remains of those killed there. Just turning 12 o'clock noon on Saturday here in Moscow. This is RT International. From me, Rory Souchet, and the entire news team, welcome to your headlines. Islamic State militants have seized the final border crossing between Syria and Iraq. Now, that's according to the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, which says militants are now in control of more than half of Syria's territory. And recent gains include the ancient city of Palmyra, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And this all comes after declassified documents were published showing that as early as 2012, U.S. intelligence predicted the rise of Islamic State. The report also shows the powers who supported the Syrian opposition, like America, envisioned the creation of an independent principality in eastern Syria and firmly supported it. They also clearly predicted the establishment of Islamic State through its union with other terror organizations in both Syria and Iraq. During the Syrian uprising, the U.S. was largely supporting the opposition. One of its leaders is Abdul Jabbar al-Oqaidi, a commander of the Free Syrian Army. He maintains clear links with Islamic State and has praised the militants in the past.
هي علاقتك مع دولة الإسلام في العراق والشام؟
جيدة. أنا علاقتي مع الأخوة في دولة العراق والشام بالتأكيد تواصل شبه يومي أنا والأخوة في دولة العراق والشام لحل هذه الخلافات وحل هذه المشاكل.
And here is the former U.S. ambassador to Syria, Robert Ford, posing with al-Qaeda as recently as May 2013. But not just the ambassador. How about U.S. Senator John McCain, also been under fire last year for a picture of him with Islamic State jihadists right there in Syria. He was apparently taken during a visit to the country when he was meeting with the opposition leaders. Though, of course, these days the U.S. government is playing a different tune when it comes to Islamic State.
Left unchecked, these terrorists could pose a growing threat beyond that region, including to the United States.
ISIL simply poses a threat to the people of Iraq and Syria and the broader Middle East. And if left unchecked, these terrorists certainly would pose a growing threat beyond the region because they have already promised to.
Yeah, earlier we talked to Max Abrams, a political science professor at Northeastern University. He said the U.S. and its allies were fully aware of Islamic State since its creation.
The reason why this report is important is because it comes from the DIA, which is part of the Defense Department. What it shows is that terrorist elements spearheaded by al-Qaeda in Iraq had designs on moving into Syria from the very beginning, and that the U.S. and Turkey and the Gulf countries were aware of this. The evidence is suggesting more and more that these so-called moderate elements were actually not that moderate, that they had terrorist backing from the very beginning.
It's RT International. Thousands of protesters from hundreds of cities worldwide are set to take part in the annual March Against Monsanto. That'll be today. Let's show you some of the latest pictures from Sydney, where crowds have already taken to the streets. Demonstrators are chanting slogans and holding banners decrying the activities of the corporation. Organisers expect this year's attendance numbers to beat previous records and span to almost 50 countries. Elsewhere, the GM foods giant has become a frequent target of people's anger in recent years. Activists blame the agricultural corporation for selling toxic chemicals. Small farmers accuse Monsanto of sincerely monopolizing the market, while others complain its activity causes harm to water resources. The company is also slammed for its food safety regulations and that of environmental destruction. And we talked to some campaigners about other threats they believe Monsanto poses.
It's an environmental problem, it's a health problem, it's a social problem in terms of our connection to food culture. All started to occur in America, and they will occur here, and they will occur faster if we do adopt GMO technology.
The government is interested in profits, interested in foreign investment, and less interested in the safety, the health and safety of its citizens.
They have genetically modified crops that can withstand Agent Orange now, but we can't withstand it. We're not genetically modified. These Roundup products are carcinogenic, that they're causing cancer. And the company will say, well, people aren't using the products correctly. Why should we use any product on our food that is linked to cancer? So, people are fed up. We should break up Monsanto.
As people gather all around the world in a show of protest against Monsanto, throughout the day, our correspondents will bring you the very latest from London, Paris, Berlin, and New York. It's RT International. Despite the generally observed ceasefire in eastern Ukraine, European monitors keep reporting violations on an almost daily basis. One key point, of course, that of the Donetsk airport. It's seen months of fierce fighting there between anti-government forces and the Kiev military before the February peace deal kicked in. Let's show you what it was like, though, back during the worst time of the fighting. Of course, with the truce in place, the airport area looks nothing like that today. And moreover, the OSCE has admitted that during the past week, violations in the area have died down. On Friday, observers along with Red Cross representatives visited the airport to try and exhume the bodies of those who have been killed in the fighting. Some of them under rubble for months, as it's been too dangerous to remove them. With more from Donetsk, RT's Roman Kosarov.
The OSCE and the Red Cross have exhumed the remains of at least 3 soldiers at the old terminal of Donetsk airport. The burned body parts have been here for a long time and now hardly look like they ever belonged to a person. But genetic tests should help with identifying who they belong to.
The main aim for us is to assure that people who have been killed in relation to the armed conflict are properly identified and returned to their families.
The $750 million Donetsk airport's been reduced to rubble in a year of fighting between the Ukrainian and anti-government forces. To this day, it remains one of the most volatile zones of the conflict. Ukraine's President Petro Poroshenko managed to add fuel to the fire recently by vowing to reclaim the airport.
I have no doubt we will free the airport because it is our land.
All that makes the recovering of the remains of the fallen soldiers a very dangerous and deadly affair. The exact number of soldiers who have died here at the Donetsk airport is still unknown. Their remains are still being found to this day. OSCE and the Red Cross have visited the site of Donetsk airport, and after a thorough investigation, they will make their findings available to the loved ones and relatives of the soldiers who died here. Roman Kosarev, RT, Donetsk airport.
Still to come here on RT International, if you're in New York, you're probably not very far away from a microphone. A group of anonymous activists eavesdropping and publishing people's private conversations in a protest against mass surveillance. Also, a brand new